But lately in the news, the new Archbishop of Canterbury, Dame Sarah Mullally, that there was multiple cases with sexual harassment where she failed as the Bishop of London. It is really ironic that the last Archbishop of Canterbury is removed for a lack of safeguarding, and the new one being put in, let's forget the other reasons, we'll get to those, has just a reckless record when it comes to safeguarding. This is actually preposterous.
One of the questions for Mullally is she administratively competent, in the very least in terms of safeguarding? Is she at least better than Justin Welby? Well, those who've been following Anglican politics know that there are several questions hanging over her head. The inside gossip or received wisdom is she's not terribly clever, not very personable, and actually has made a mess of a number of crises. The obvious conclusion anyone has to come to is that the powers that be on the inside of the Church of England are absolutely determined they're going to make this woman Archbishop of Canterbury, and they won't accept any interference, any criticism, or any engagement with it. And now we're back to what I was saying earlier on. Although it's hearsay, the word on the street, the common sense of her competence is that she doesn't have any. So what on earth is the institution doing, promoting her to the highest office when she isn't competent? And the answer is, it's a triumph of feminist dogma over common sense and competent administration. So it's not just her who's incompetent in terms of safeguarding. The people who are ring fencing her and are refusing to accept any critique or criticism are also incompetent. And she became a trade union official. So this is halfway between a politician and an administrator. She did rise to the top, but there's always an element of politics in terms of who makes it to the top of a trade union and how do they behave when they get there. The question is, she's either extremely clever, having risen to the top of both, or else she's extremely favored in the sense that she's got she's the protege of various people. The difficulty with rising to the top of the Church of England was that she doesn't really have a track record that suggests she got there by competence. Because first of all, it's been the case that people who've risen to the top of the Church of England have usually been theologically well educated. If you're going to be a bishop or an archbishop or a dean, it's presumed that you have a level of theological and intellectual competence and expertise, which means you've got at least an undergraduate degree, ideally 1 or 2 postgraduate degrees, preferably a PhD. The way she trained for the Church of England was part-time. She trained in night school. She did 2 evenings a week of theology for a couple of years. This is about as theology light as you could ever get. So then after doing theology light for a couple of evenings a week over a couple of years at night school, they ordained her, and then they rushed her through some fairly undemanding assistant clergy posts until they made her an assistant bishop. They left her there for a couple of years, and then lo and behold, instantaneously, she became Bishop of London. It's hard to justify somebody who's got very little pastoral experience, picked this thing up as a kind of mid-career change, no qualifications for it, and a track record that's, you know, we would say politely say underwhelming. She hasn't got any qualifications for any of this. So then they made her Bishop of London. How has she done? Well, people think she's not done very well. Now they're going to make her Archbishop of Canterbury. I mean, it's hard to find the polite kind of language, really. You could only do that if the organization was seriously dysfunctional.